I love FOSS, I love open source, I love Linux, and I absolutely love the ecosystems being built up around all of this software over all of these years. And this right here is a prime example of what makes FOSS so great. This was opened in the Cosmic Compositor repo by Carl Rochelle, the big guy over at System 76, Global Shortcuts, and it's literally just a picture of this interface. But what is this interface? Well, this is a screenshot from KDE Plasma. If I go into my system settings and I go down to the section on application permissions, it has changed a little bit since this original screenshot was made, but this is the screen that was posted. So what is this, and what are global shortcuts? Well, global shortcuts are the idea where you can use a shortcut for an application when the application is not the currently focused window. So right now, my browser is the focused window, so if there are any shortcuts for this Alacrity window over here, I would not be able to use those. With global shortcuts though, if there were, I would be able to use them. Now in a lot of contexts, you don't want that to happen, and a lot of shortcuts do not behave in a global way, no matter what system they are running on. But if we're talking about what I'm doing with OBS, if I press this, we go here, that, there, that, there, that, there, that, we go back to the full screen camera. That is operating with global shortcuts. I am not focused on the OBS window. I have my focus on the browser window or on the Alacrity window, but it is not on the OBS window. Now, over on X11, this is very easy to do because every single application that wants to be is a keylogger. Now, they're not being a malicious keylogger, but to do global shortcuts in the open way X11 was doing so, you're basically a keylogger. This obviously makes it easy, but it's not the best long-term security solution. So when Wayland came along, that functionality was not added. But by not adding it, it did break the entire ability to do global shortcuts. Now, on Wayland, there is a proper solution being worked on. A lot of the pieces are in place. The main thing being waited on now is applications to actually integrate those pieces, but I'll talk about that stuff later. There are a lot of legacy applications which are frankly just never going to be updated. Whether they stay on X11 forever, or they've just been abandoned, they still work perfectly fine, they still do the thing you want it to do, but they are just never going to have support for some new system that's in place. So you have three options. One, you fork the application and you add whatever functionality needs to be there to use the new Wayland solution. You might not be a developer, you might not understand the code base. This is a lot of work to do it for every application that might need global shortcuts, or even just the ones that you rely on, because they might be really big code bases, like for example, say, OBS, which does not use the new solution yet. Option 2, you abandon perfectly working software that if you run on X11, no issues at all, it's not like breaking with new dependencies, it just doesn't work on the new graphical solution. Option 3, you provide a stopgap for those legacy applications to keep them working. And that is exactly what this does. Basically, it's saying, I want to let X11 applications running on my system through Wayland listen in on my keyboard even when they are not in focus. So right now I have my focus on this window here, and because I'm actually running OBS through Wayland, not through Wayland, I can use all of my shortcuts like I'd be able to do so over on X11. Now, with the KDE solution, you do have the option of which kinds of keys you want to let through, if you want to include mouse buttons, things like that. I personally just let everything through, but maybe you want it to be only if you include modifier keys and things like that. Now, I use this feature for OBS, but for a lot of other people, you might use this for push-to-talk in an application like Discord, for example, and without a solution there, that will never work. Now again, something like Discord sometime down the line might support the new solution, but there's no guarantee and there's no indication when, so having this right now is a major boon for people, and for me, not having OBS work the way I want it to basically was one of the major blockers stopping me actually daily driving Cosmic. Now the bugs, the bugs are also a problem, but having this here after the bugs are done, very important for me. And right now, I'm only aware of 2 desktops that have a solution for this. KDE doing what I'm talking about here, and Hyperland, which probably does it in a better way, where you can specify exactly what key combinations you want to be allowed through. But Cosmic also has this open issue. So who says that Cosmic can't just go and yoink the feature? It works well in KDE, so just do that. So about a week ago, this was posted with an updated screenshot just to show what the interface is actually like now. And then a bit after that, here we have a UI mockup. Yes, it is styled in a more cosmic way, and yes, the text here is a bit different. But this is the same thing. Like, one for one the same feature, just yoinked out of KDE and put into Cosmic. Obviously, it's not the same code that's going to be backing it because KDE isn't a Rust code base, but this right here is exactly what I love about open source. We're not worried about implementing a similar feature. We're not worried about using a similar design. We have a feature. It does a job. People like the job it does. So why reinvent the wheel? Just use the same wheel. Don't try to force applications to conform to some weird standard where you're a niche of a niche of a niche and nobody's gonna do so. Just take the thing that works and do the thing. Now, as it stands, this is just a UI mockup. This isn't actually a feature available in Cosmic yet, but anytime there is a major UI addition, major UI change in Cosmic, it starts in the Figma, and then at some point it'll be implemented, and the feature will be available. Ever since the recording of this video, the feature has actually been merged, so that is lovely to see. Anyway, back to the main video now. I am so happy that this feature is actually being considered. I wish that every Wayland desktop had something like this. I don't know why there is this push to only focus on the long-term solution when all of these applications that work in X Wayland, except for global shortcuts, are never going to support it. It doesn't mean the Wayland solution is a bad thing, but this should be here as well. Now, just in case you don't know, let's talk what this full-on Wayland solution is. So, when I first talked about this over on social media, I keep telling people not to do this. Please don't go and comment on things when all you have to add is literally nothing and you don't understand what's actually being worked on. Someone said, just implement the global shortcuts portal per this issue right here. These are 2 separate things addressing 2 separate issues. This is also being done, but the global shortcuts portal solution is never going to be implemented in legacy X11 apps, and apps that don't have a Wayland version, even though they're still actually being updated. So basically, this works in a similar way to the video capture portal. Effectively, we're just circumventing Wayland and doing it through another system. Now, the reason why it's stated we're doing it like this is so you have permission control and things like that, but look, the functional reason is because something like this was just never going to be adopted in upstream Wayland, and there's been attempts to do so before. They just failed, though. So with the full solution in place, basically what would happen is you would open up the application, you would then request to have shortcuts available, an interface outside of the application would open. This is the portal interface. You'd have all your hotkeys bound, hopefully they would be saved, and then it would do whatever it needs to do in the background to link up the hotkeys with the keyboard and have everything magically sent through. And if you ever want to deny those shortcuts, they can be done, and no ones besides the ones you specifically set in the portal are going to be visible. Right now, we sort of have a chicken and egg problem. Now, part of that problem has been slowly being resolved, but it's still not fully there. For the longest time, apps weren't making use of this solution because the desktops didn't implement the portal. And then the desktops didn't implement the portal because applications didn't want to use the portal. So somebody had to start, otherwise nothing was going to be done. And at least in my opinion, it made a lot more sense for the desktops to get something in place than one random application that happens to want to use a feature. The desktop is a much bigger entity than most of the applications that want to use it. And that groundwork is mostly in place now. The issue is now the applications need to do a complete redesign of how their shortcut systems work, because on X11, on Windows, on Mac, the app does all of that control in the app. Like, the application window itself. With this portal solution, though, the app is responsible for listening to the shortcuts, for requesting them, for doing some sort of functionality with the shortcut, but the actual setting of the shortcuts is done in an external interface, so the relationship between the application and the shortcuts completely changes for this niche of a niche platform that is Wayland on Linux. So the smallest of the small platforms is requesting a custom solution. This is why I don't like a lot of the approaches that Wayland is taking to things, because it just makes things way harder for the application developers in a situation where they're not in a position to force application developers to do the harder approach. Granted, there aren't many apps that do require global shortcuts anyway, so yeah. Either way, I like that this solution is making progress. I am very happy that this is something being worked on, because once everything else in Cosmic is dealt with, if this is not dealt with, I'm still not going to want to use it. So I'm happy that we're seeing some stuff be done here. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you rely on any X11 global shortcuts? Do you even know what a global shortcut is before this video? I would love to know. So if you like the video, go like the video. If you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, subscribe to the Libero Pay, linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and I'm global.
Like this.